We watch a movie, maybe so do you. Then we sum it up and call it out with a beverage or two. It's the Wine and Whiskey Horror Show.
Me. We did The Shining. But before we get into that, I want to make a brief announcement, which is that we made sort of excited proclamations that we are going to review and describe more movies with more people of color in them, and we definitely do want to continue doing that. But I think I was thinking in particular of like Jordan Peele. A problem with that would be that we are two white folks, and to talk about those movies that are often about experiences that we have not had would lead us into troublesome and troubling areas. We are going to try to not dip our toes into experiences that aren't not ours. So with that in mind, we won't be reviewing movies like Us and Get Out, etc. And now we'll talk about The Shining. So many people think it's like the best thing since sliced bread, but I strongly disagree, and I will tell you why. Let's just start
at the beginning.
At the beginning. Wah, wah. We're like panning in slow over like the Colorado mountains. Are you just doing Jaws now? Amazing visuals. Wendy's outfits. My personal favorite is the one where she's got like a full red like long johns on, and then just like a denim dress. The music is amazing. But then it's, you know, they're driving through the mountains, and that is sort of great because it's super creepy, and you're like, well, this could go anywhere. Da-da-da. Okay, that's enough. I guess it's just Jack driving for his little interview first. Jack Torrance, played by Jack Nicholson. He's driving all the way up to the Overlook Hotel, where he has an interview.
Jack?
The hotel man kind of sits like this for several minutes and interviews him and has little butterfly hands. Surely this would be... Anyway, Jack Nicholson is eyebrowing away in a chair. The interview goes great, and he's like, just one more thing. The last caretaker here killed himself and his entire family, but I'm sure that won't be a problem for you. And Jack Nicholson is like, it definitely won't. And you're like, that's the first red flag. They go on a tour of the grounds. Jack Nicholson gets the job. Back at home, Danny, their son, has a bowl cut. And also a man that's in his mouth, but also his finger. The little man's name is Tony, and he talks like this. Danny and Tony are chit-chatting as Danny brushes his teeth, and Tony's like, your dad got the job. Danny's like 5, so he's really little. Tony's like, this is not a good thing. The hotel is bad news. And then he gives him terrifying visions, the classic blood pouring out of the elevator doors, and like lots of dead people, and then he faints, understandably. The doctor comes, and then they talk, and the doctor's like, this is perfectly normal. Wendy tells the doctor about a time when Jack Nicholson, and by that I mean Jack the character, got really drunk and dislocated Danny's arm. Jack is an alcoholic, and that he is abusive within their family. We should definitely go spend 5 months alone in an isolated location. Drive, and they are preparing for the winter because they don't have a winter season because it's too hard to, because check out snow, it's too hard to get up to the hotel in the winter for guests. And they're like, let us show your family around. Then we meet Dick Halloran. Dick Halloran is the chef, and he is like, I don't have any family or friends of my own, but I will be nice to you and become a part of your family because I'm a side character that gets used for my kindness and mystical powers. Also, he's African American. Shocking. He's like, let me take Wendy and Danny and toodle them around the grounds. So Dick Halloran takes them to the super fun kitchen where Wendy gets to learn about all the chores that she'll have to do, while Jack is busy composing his oeuvre of magnificence because the whole family seems to revolve around his needs.
Sucks.
Then he's like, let me take Danny for a little bowl of ice cream. And they go out and have a bowl of ice cream, and Dick Halloran is like, I know that you know that I know that you know that I know that you know that you have a small man who lives in your mouth. He reveals also that he has what is called The Shining. the titular shining. His grandma had it, and that he has it, and that he also knows that Danny has it. It's a seeing talent of seeing what is there that other people can't see. So Dick Halloran is like, keep an eye on that kid. Everyone else leaves, and they're like, let's snuggle up in our little cute apartment for 5 whole months. And this is my first qualm. One, I think it was about Jack Torrance. The first time you meet him, you're like...
It's less like the hotel corrupted a good person, and more like it enabled this abusive asshole.
I don't find that nearly as interesting as he's a good person and there's some sort of magnetism that corrupts him. Anyway, in the movie, he's not very complicated. And Wendy is supposed to be really lovely, and like they don't show us enough of her and him for us to believe that they would be together because he's yucky and she's lovely. So that just feels like poor writing. So now we're in the hotel and like boop, 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 he's typing on this typewriter, being a bit of an asshole. Shove it up your ass, dick face. The hotel's fucking huge, so we see like Danny on his little like from behind the little tricycle. He around the corner, and who's there but the twinsies in their beautiful blue dresses. Come play with us, Danny. So Danny makes his face right up in there. I actually find that really scary. The kid is such a good actor. Come play, Danny, and he's like, no, thank you.
But he sees them, and then he sees the shining of their dead bodies and axes. And...
So those are the daughters of the caretaker who he killed. Why they dress like that is Stanley Kubrick's business. Their parents have a lot to answer for in the sartorial department. Wendy's cooking, Jack is writing, and like, it's getting colder outside. It's hot. It snows a lot. Wendy's like, let me call on the phone.
Let's be clear, she ran the whole shit.
She controls the food, she controls probably like the heat, she controls their minds.
She has all the power!
All the power! She understands how this massive scary building works. There weren't even like YouTube videos, she's just on it. It snows, she's trying to call everyone, but the lines are down, the storm is starting. She gets on the little radio and she talks to the guy at, I don't know, like the sheriff's station or whatever. He like flirts with her and she flirts with him back. He's like, okay, well I'm gonna go. And she's like, no, I'm so lonely. I don't blame you. Your husband sucks. Okay, oh God. She does say it. It was real nice talking to you. I just like so badly want a friend for her that's not her 5-year-old son.
Or the thing that lived in his mouth.
It starts to snow a lot more, and Jack is like, the creative muse is not with me. I'm gonna make a quick interlude to talk about the Shelley Duvall thing. Trauma. Stanley Kubrick was super abusive to Shelley Duvall during the filming of The Shining. It was like non-voluntary method acting. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that he would not have done that to a man. Jack takes a little stroll around the hotel to like clear his mind or something, and takes the special plugs out of the radio. At some point in the near future, he goes to the Golden Room, which is like the swanky lounge area. He goes up to the bar where there's no alcohol because the season is closed, and there's a shit ton of alcohol and also a bartender who has a very scary middle part. Jack has been on the wagon, and now he's not on the wagon anymore because this imaginary bartender has poured him imaginary alcohol. And Jack complains a lot about Wendy and how hard his life is. Boo-hoo! Just remember, he dies. Danny is like tricycling around town, and we know that the worst room in the hotel is room 237. He comes back out and he has strangulation marks on his neck. Wendy is terrified. Jack is like, I bet Danny did it to himself. He's like, oh, go check out room 237, and he does. And it is amazing. Tip of the hat to the interior decorator.
Light
Blue, bright green, Kelly green, yellow. You look at it and you're like, what the fuck happened? And then you go into the bathroom and the whole bathroom is green. At that time, it would have probably not been so strange. In the 80s, it would have been like gold taps and everything is pale pink or whatever. You know, seashells everywhere. And then if you did it in like the late, I'm just thinking.
Just like take us through the years.
I got it. So if you did it in 1989, that's the color scheme. And then if you did it in 1999, the color scheme would be like, I don't know, I was already alive, so for me, I'm like, everything would have been, I have my like 8-year-old perspective of 1999. The hotel would have been like, the color scheme would have been silver and purple. Everyone would have had to wear shiny bell bottoms, and everything would have been like purple fake fur.
Gross.
The Spice Girls would have been on retainer, free juicy fruit everywhere.
Well, it's 2009.
Ugh, let's not. 2019, okay, now it would be gray and white marble, millennial pink, a lot of those huge houseplants that have like the slate divots out of them, and then like a fuck ton of succulents. And then like a corgi. So he goes into the room. There's a lady in the bathtub. Yeah. And then she stands up and it's like sexy. Except that it's 1979 sexy, so she looks like an actual human woman. He goes in and he's like, I'm all about this vintage porn. Why is there a random naked woman? Qualm 2. Stephen King is all about the random boobies. Anyway, there's a sexy naked lady and Jack makes out with her briefly. He looks in the mirror and then sees she's old as shit and her body's decaying. She's like, nobody likes a crone apparently.
She was decaying.
Okay, was she decaying or did society's eye make her decaying? I'm like sweating. I'm feeling the feels. I had a couple whiskeys. Okay. And
then he leaves.
He's like, did you find anything? And he goes, no. So he goes to the gold room. There's a big old fancy party happening there. Anyone who's dead from 1925 is there. And he gets drunk, and then he runs into Grady. Grady spills on him. They go to the bathroom. And Jack Torrance is like, I know who you are. You're Grady, the man who killed his family here when he was a caretaker. Grady's like, well, I am Grady, and I did kill my family, but I've been here forever. And Jack is like, a tisket, a tasket. Grady's like, you need to take care of your family if they won't listen to you. Oh, I forgot. Dick Halloran is like, I'm gonna check on them, and he calls the sheriff's station. I think he gets like a little shining connection from Danny or something. The sheriff guy's like, no news from the Overlook. Blue, blue. Dick Halloran is like, well, clearly the only solution is for me to risk my life and get on a plane. Who is his family? Does he have nieces that he loves? Who's gonna miss him? Mr. Grady is like, your wife is bringing in an outside party. Jack is like, what? But me and the hotel have a sexy love affair now. Mr. Grady's like, you need to take care of your family. Jack is like, sounds great, I'm on it. Wendy is like, she goes down and looks at his typewriter and is like, let's read what amazing work he's written. And all he's written is like 8 billion pages that say, all work, no play makes Jack a dull boy. Also, he's experimented with form on the page. What's the type of poetry where it takes the shape of, and she's not impressed. And she has a baseball bat swinging at him, and he says, you know, like, I'm not going to hurt you, I'm just going to kill you in your face. And she hits him with a baseball bat.
She went down to tell Jack, we're leaving. You can come with us or not.
Right. So she's gonna go, but here she is dragging her unconscious husband into the freezer room instead. Oh no, into the dry goods room. And he, like, has a nice nap and eats some Oreos with peanut butter. Mr. Grady opens the door for him because the hotel is now, like, fucking coming to life. He starts running around. I think he gets an axe from somewhere, and he starts chasing them around the hotel. When he grabs Danny and goes to the bathroom in their little apartment and locks all the doors, Jack gets in. Wendy has Danny out the window. She can't get out the window because she can't fit. This is a classic moment. He hacks through the door. So Dick shows up at the hotel in his snow cat that he rents. Danny's scooting his boot out to the hedge maze. Jack is tracking down Dick, and Wendy is now running around the hotel. Dick Halloran comes in and is like, can I help anyone? And within 5 seconds, Jack axes him in the chest, and he dies on the floor. His entire character wasted. The only person of color wasted. The mystical Negro who comes and saves Danny, but at least he saved all the white people. Jack is like, but Danny's out in the snow, so he goes up to the hedge maze and he's chasing Danny down. Danny's a lot smarter than he is, watches Jack run by, and then retraces his steps, foot in foot in foot. Wendy finds Danny and plops them both on the snowcat and scooty boots away over the hill to safety. Jack Torrance is still running circles in the hedge maze. That is where he dies, in the snow. And then he looks like this.
Yes, I do. A lot.
Here's my
Themes of the movie.
snow, toxic masculinity, axes, friendship, pen pal friendship through the radio. A romance that could never be, a friendship that could never blossom. The magic of the written word. Spooky ghosts. Oh, we forgot the furry. It doesn't really matter. If there's a furry giving a blowjob, everyone has a fetish. Let's move on. So yeah, I just feel like Shelley Duvall did not get a chance to show off her acting skills in a non-toxic environment, and also would have loved a woman character that was allowed to have more depth in the book and in the movie. There weren't any cats in it, so that's a real downer. At the end, it like zooms in on his face and is like, he's been here for 8,000 years.
Oh yeah, he does this thing with his eyebrows that's just like, oh, good stuff.
I feel like that's what his eyebrows do, and it's just like, you can't learn that.